Hi everybody, this is Heidi from the Emmanuel Foundation, and I am so excited. I have my good friend Andy Kirk here today, and he's going to help me because I get a lot of questions from people who want to donate, and they want to donate, but they also have questions about their taxes. What do you think about all that, Andy?
Well, thanks so much for having me, Heidi, and happy to help educate and maybe provide some insight for some of the donors who are looking to maybe get a little more tax benefit, but also most importantly help the charity here.
That's awesome. I love hearing that. Yeah, a lot of our donors, they're of many different ages. Everybody's in a different situation. We have people who are, maybe 70 and a half, and they're asking about giving some significant gifts. And what would be what are some things that they could do to capitalize on that?
Yeah, great question. I think the easiest thing or way for donors who are at least 70 and a half and above to give is through something called a qualified charitable distribution. And basically what that is it's a donation to a charity that comes directly from a retirement account. So I'm sure you're aware at 73 now, a lot of retirees have to take mandatory distributions.
They make you take stuff, oh my goodness.
So you have to pay taxes on them whether you want it or not.
Okay.
One of the nice things about this qualified charitable distribution is instead of taking that distribution and paying taxes on it, you can actually give it directly to a charity. You make the IRS happy so you don't have to worry about paying taxes on that money. You do not get a tax deduction, but the charity gets the full benefit. And individuals over 70 and a half that have retirement accounts, they can do $100,000 per year.
Wow.
Which is a pretty significant gift, and they're able to get that money out without paying any taxes whatsoever. Now,
and
again,
that counts as their mandatory.
It counts as their mandatory distribution once they hit 73. So it's a great strategy for people that have retirement accounts that are looking to give to charity, but also not having to pay taxes on that income that they have to take out every year, especially once they're 73 years old. So that's a great strategy definitely for anybody that's over 70 and a half.
And that benefits everybody. That's amazing.
That's huge. Yeah,
I love that.
But it's definitely something they would want to work with their financial advisor or their brokerage company to make sure that they have the right kind of account and distribution cycle.
Right.
It has to go directly to the charity. So you just want to make sure that is appropriate. So
if it goes to your checking account, you're getting an IRS smackdown, and you can't do it.
You got to pay taxes.
You got to pay taxes
on it. And you may or may not be able to write it off. And that's maybe another point to bring up is that, most people don't take charitable write-offs anymore,
right?
Because the standard deduction is almost, it's $29,000. So unless you have $29,000 of charity, mortgage interest, property taxes, and maybe some healthcare stuff, you're not going to write off your charity. So this is a good way to be able to still get a tax benefit. Even though you're not getting a tax deduction, you're getting a tax savings because you're not paying money on taxes that you would have otherwise.
Are you guys listening to this? I mean, I told you he has a superhero cape. So also, if people wanted to donate with, like people my age, I have some stocks. I don't have a lot of stocks for those of you who wanted to know that, but I want to give to I would love to give to a charity. And I want to do that, but I don't want to experience capital gains. How does that work?
Yeah, that's a great question. So you kind of get two great benefits if you decide to. Another very easy way, I guess, to start is by giving appreciated stock or appreciated property. And so, if for example, you bought a stock for $1,000, and it was a really good stock, and now it's worth $25,000, which sometimes happens.
That would be amazing.
It might depend on the amount of time that you've held it.
Okay.
But basically, if you've held it for at least 1 year, what you can do is you can give those shares to the charity. So in this case, of course, the foundation. The foundation can liquidate those. You'll get a tax deduction for the market value when they sell it, and no one has to pay taxes on that capital gain. So that appreciation from $1,000 to $25,000, there is no tax hit or capital gain hit. So it's kind of a win-win for both the donor and, of course, the charity. But it's important to remember, again, the standard deduction is really high. So even if it's $25,000, it may not be you may not still be able to write it off. So,
Right,
so
but
again, that's something to be
still,
mindful of. Yeah, it's
25,000.
huge.
I mean,
It's
my
massive.
tax, I only paid 1,000. Now I'm giving 25. I mean,
Right.
I'm just saying, charities all over the world would love to hear this.
Definitely. Well, and to add to that, and the reason I keep bringing up the standard deduction is you can also do something called bunching.
Oh, I love
where,
bunching.
Where you can do multiple gifts that you would normally do in 1 year. So, for example, let's say that you have pledged $20,000 a year to the foundation, and you want to do that with appreciated stock. Well, rather than just doing $20,000 every year, what if you were to do 5 years at one time? Right, so you could do that directly to the foundation in one shot, and then you're essentially getting a major tax deduction in 1 year, which may carry forward to future years or maybe not. But then another strategy too is using like donor advised funds, which you can work with your financial advisor to do the same kind of thing, where you'll put appreciated stock into a donor advised fund. It's kind of like a foundation, and you can get a tax deduction for that if it's big enough. And then every year you can give donations out of your donor advised fund.
Are you telling me that anybody can do a fancy donor advised fund?
Anybody.
They just have to
can do
get
it.
with their financial advisor and say, I want to do it. Well, I
That's
love
right.
that. And so then you can realize that tax advantage all in that 1 year.
That's correct. Yeah, and still honor your pledges over time, right? Again, if you could do it all at one time if you wanted, and then just say I'm good for 5 years, or you could say, okay, I'm going to do a donor advised fund, put enough money in there for gifts for 5 years, and then you can dole that money out over the next 5 years, however you want.
While you're still earning. Oh,
Yeah,
my
and it's still
goodness.
invested, so it actually still continues to make money potentially.
Do you see how smart he is? That is why I asked him to come and visit with us. I mean, seriously.
Well, thank you.
So this is wonderful. And so then, we were talking about, qualified charitable distributions. We were talking about donor advised funds. We were talking about appreciated stock.
Yep.
You know what? My favorite thing that you said, well, one of the favorite things was giving large gifts over time. And I love that because, a lot of people like my age or even younger, they want to do larger gifts. But one big chunk is kind of hard.
That's true, yeah. And so, a lot of people, especially like in my generation, I'm in my 40s, most of my generation actually gives monthly. So it's just, it's kind of interesting. You can ask somebody, hey, could you give us $1,000? They would say, no, but I can give $100 a month. Wonderful, that's perfect, right? So another good way for a lot of people to give that's just a little more convenient is to give monthly, just almost like a tithe or any kind of other monthly contribution. So that's a great way for a lot of people who are still continuing to work and haven't quite got to that retirement status yet. It's the easiest way to give.
Yeah, because I'm at an event and I'm in my 40s too. I'm not in my 40s, not even close. And I want to raise my paddle for $1,000 or $1,200. And I can do that at that event, but I can pay a monthly donation.
Yeah, essentially doing a pledge.
Pledge, I love
just
that.
A commitment and doing it monthly, or it could be an annual pledge too. You could say, in that case, it could be I want to give $25,000 and you do $5,000 a year for 5 years. If you're thinking about making a large gift, or any kind of like a planned gift, or of course a legacy gift, those kind of gifts you definitely want to bring in 3 people. Maybe not everybody, but it's definitely you want to consult with those 3 people. Number 1 is your financial advisor.
Okay.
Number 2 is your accountant. And 3, you might need your attorney, right? Especially if it's a legacy gift or if it's something that's more complex like a planned gift. So those are kind of the 3 legs of that 3-legged stool when you're looking to do this.
Well, should you ask your spouse? What do you think?
I would be hoping that you and your spouse would be making these decisions together, but if not, then definitely I think bringing your spouse into that conversation is important too.
Okay, thank you.
You bet.
Wow, I mean, I learned so much today. Some things I knew, but I really want to get out there and I want to raise my paddle, or I want to get out there and give some gifts.
You bet.
I can make a difference. And I can help myself on my taxes. Thank you, Andy.
Well, thank you so much for having me, and thanks for giving me some time to share some thoughts.
He's a rock star. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye, guys.